From police brutality to pandemic lockdowns, Americans protesting is a common sight coast to coast. But some demonstrations are moving beyond marches and picket signs.
Backlash and calls to boycott fitness giants Equinox and SoulCycle continue tonight as their owner plans a fundraiser for President Trump,
aiming to shut down businesses.
We live in a time now where we have what we call, cancel culture, man. And if you do something wrong, you're supposed to be out of here.
And silence people.
A Major League Soccer team fired a player after his wife made racist posts. The editor of Bon Appetit resigned because one Halloween 16 years ago, he dressed like this.
I know what socialism looks like. I don't want that for my children.
Cancel culture came for actor Antonio Sabato Jr. after this speech 4 years ago.
Let's go back to 2016. I mean, your life really changed after you spoke at the Republican National Convention.
You know, it was one of those moments where everything turned around in a matter of 24 hours against me. I had the most hate toward me from people I never even met, and people that I did know, too, in the industry, and I was attacked. But instead of weakening down and giving away to the bullies in Hollywood, I stood up to them.
Sabato headed to Florida to literally build a new start, beginning with his own studio. Grammy-winning recording artist Lecrae also fought his way back. He battled severe depression as Christian fans dropped him after he began speaking out against racism in 2016.
On one end of the spectrum, though I went through so much trauma and turmoil, I had 4 years to process all of the things that I think people are just now kind of experiencing. I'm confident in truth and justice and what God says. So I'm not afraid to speak up for fear of consequences or being canceled, so to speak.
And there are consequences. Recent research finds 84% of Americans feel cancel culture in the United States is a big problem.
When you give up the idea that human beings are made in God's image, then you no longer need to treat people with respect.
And we've seen how it can lead to more pain than a loss of respect.
The UNCW professor accused of racist tweets and who was found dead in his home died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. We're learning that now.
It led a close friend of Dr. Jeff Myers to kill himself. Professor Mike Adams made the fateful decision a week before a forced retirement from the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. For months, he faced social media hatred and petitions from thousands who wanted him fired over comments they felt to be racist. Myers and Adams worked together at Summit Ministries, training young people to be Christian leaders. Did you have conversations with him about the pressures that he was facing?
Toward the end of his life, he had told me when he was essentially pushed out of the university, he said, my career is over. I said, well, your life's not over. He said, but my career is over. And it brought home the reality that it's one thing to oppose what somebody says. It's another thing to say, because I disagree with you, I will use whatever power I can muster to destroy you as a person.
Did you ever have conversations with your friend about the specifics of the things that he did tweet? Because I read some of them, and some of them hurt me. One in particular, or two in particular, I think of, a black man's biggest obstacle to success is not white racism, it's black culture. Black Lives Matter supporters are either racist, emotionally unstable, or suffering from severe intellectual hernia, or all of the above. Did you ever talk about the specifics of what he...
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, some of the things that Mike wrote or tweeted about rattled me and rattled his friends. There were lots of conversations about, Mike, is that too far? Do you understand how people perceive that? And I think it's important to know that if you ever had talked to Mike about that, you would have found a friend. You would have found that he would listen, that he would engage with you, that he would hear your viewpoint, that he wasn't a rude person. He's actually a really nice person, but a person who felt that it was his job to challenge the speech police.
Were you surprised that Dr. Adams took his life?
Given what Dr. Adams had gone through in the last few weeks of his life, I was concerned for him. My wife and I prayed with him. We FaceTimed with him. The depth of despair of a person is almost never apparent until it's too late. And my message to people is, don't wait. Go ahead and talk about it.
Honest conversation and listening could save lives, resurrect relationships, and lead to understanding other points of view. Ephraim Graham, CBN News.